and let's go ahead and install it. I'm gonna roll my card up to the press here and just slide the Stampinator on. I love how this new color scheme matches the ROQ so nicely. Note if you're doing this, you don't want to do it on super sticky palettes. We'll get this slid into the print head here. And then we're going to get this staged up. Now the Stampinator is adjustable, so you can move the heat plate up and down. Right now, it's more towards the center or the back of the platen. So I'm going to move this up a little bit more so it hits more of the front of that platen. And then we'll lock these back down. I like to keep these lock knobs out of the way so they don't catch a shirt or anything like that. Before we clamp it in, we're going to center it out. So right now I'm just going to look underneath the stamp and make sure it's centered on the platen. Looks like our Teflon's a little loose still, so we're just gonna snug that up. Tight, but not too tight, because that could wreck the Teflon. Now we'll lock it in and power her up. So the 110 version is awesome because you can plug it into any press and you don't need an additional power drop. So very versatile, has very similar recovery time to the 220 version. Optimally for your ROQ press, you would want the 220 version and you would just wire it directly into your press. We have other videos on how to do that, and it's the same as the old Stampinator. However, with this one, we're just going to use a 20 amp circuit and a 20 amp power cord. Very important that we're using that 20 amp circuit, 20 amp power cord with one of the plugs, male plugs, facing sideways. For this installation video, I'm just going to run this over the front here, and we're going to go ahead and zip tie it to the front so it doesn't move around and fall into our press. If you are using a 110 volt plug or 20 amp plug, we do recommend that you get an electrician to wire it in to do a drop, because most city, states, electrical requirements aren't going to allow you to have extension cords hanging all over the place. If you notice this 110 20 amp power cord is much thicker and beefier than your traditional power cord, that's what you're looking for. We've got our 120 volt 20 amp Stampinator heating up, but we're actually going to swap this out and put a standard 240 volt in with the ROQ plug and show you how that works. This Stampinator has a ROQ standard connection plug already attached to the power cord. So we're just going to pop it in here, and now she's powered up. So this came off the oval press up there, and so it's still hot. Whenever you're dealing with a hot Stampinator, and just to protect that Teflon pad, we recommend putting like a shirt or like this is a hoodie fleece down there to protect the platen and the Teflon from getting sticky if you're just going straight onto glue. We like to keep these pressed all the way back. Our print carriage is pressed all the way back so we can move the Stampinator to its correct print position. So let's get this loaded in head number 7 or head number 2 as we reverse the print cycle and calibrate it. Once we get that locked in, we're going to move our limiter back to make sure that print head can't move forward, which would hurt the Stampinator. Last thing that we're going to do is we're just going to take a little tie, and this allows us, rather than using a zip tie, to easily take this on and off, but it keeps this secured up here so it's not going to fall off. If it falls off and falls to the side, then the platen spinning can actually rip it out. The way we actually set the Stampinator time on the ROQ press, which would be similar to your workhorse presses and your sportsman presses, is by setting the distance and speed of an open print head. Now you can use a print head that's activated, but it's best to use an open print head because you have complete flexibility. So the first thing that we're going to do is we need to make sure that our Stampinator is properly calibrated from an off contact perspective. We're going to set our off contact to 1 to start, and then we can always dial it down. The higher the off contact is, the less it's going to press. Today we're going to be printing fleece, which is a little thicker, so we're going to start it at a 1. Okay, you see as I'm coming down here with the print head, we're not putting a lot of pressure on those springs. So just slightly moving up, meaning that we're slightly stamping. We'll see how this works, and we can always dial it down if we need to. Typically we want to start stamping around 3 to 4 seconds. So let's time where we're at right now on this open print head. So down. Okay, as soon as I hit down, I'm going to hit my timer. So down, we're stamping, and then squeegee back. And that's a little bit longer than 5 seconds, so I'm going to shorten that squeegee length a little bit. Okay, let's start that again. And down. right at 4 seconds. Okay, so we'll start there and we can always dial up and down accordingly.